Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves to Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under. Today it is Saturday and I am joining in to the Stamp It Like It's Hot year-long YouTube and Instagram hop hostessed by Brianna from My Life on Paper, and this is my one that I have done for August where we've had to stamp our images and then colour them. Now I have these photos which I took on our cruise last year. My daughter and I went on a cruise and we were in Cairns, and these are traditional Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander artworks that were painted onto some shields that were in the main strip when we went into Cairns. Now I have a whole range of papers here that I want to use on this layout because of the colours that I want to drag in based on the photos. I have this sentiment title page, and I'm going to use this one here on Australian Natural Beauty because our First Nations artwork really is natural beauty. So I'm going to include that into this as part of my title. Now I have these uniquely creative clear stamps which are Indigenous artworks inspired, and unfortunately I don't put those onto the page, but I do use these stencils which also continue through with the Indigenous theme. I bought this stamp just the other day, and it's from Paperarting Joffy, and it fits perfectly onto this layout and the intention that I want for this one. So I have a gingham frame which I'm going to use as my framing, and you know I always like to frame my pages. I am just pacing out where I want these photos to sit on the page before I add in my stenciling work. Now I struggle with a plain white background, so I'm adding this stencil through with the modelling paste to give it some dimension and texture, just to lift it up off that base. I have here just through the middle the lines, and at the base in the corners I am putting in the traditional dot painting circles, which are like the trails and the community circles that are notified, oh my goodness, what word am I trying to think of, that are recognised as traditional symbols for our First Nations people as a meeting place. So I am using my stamping platform here to get a crisp outline of this stamp. I've used a black archival ink because I want it to be waterproof, as I am going to colour it with some distressed crayons. I've added in two originally, but then when I'm looking at it I'm thinking no, the space is big enough and I want it to actually be a feature on the layout, and so I add the third one when you see the photos. Now originally I mounted these photos with some backing paper behind it on the angle, but you can see that covers up too much of my layout, so I actually go back and change my mind in that area of how I'm going to present those photos. So I add in the third stamping block here, and I do it on both sides so that it is equal and it still has the texture, and now it has the stamping. I'm inking up the edges here with aged mahogany. I like that it's lifting it up off the frame, and then that sets up my base ready for the layout. As you can see, I now have two diagonals happening in this layout. One is down with the modelling paste and one is across the two paintings of the stamped images. So as I said, I'm using my Tim Holtz distress crayons. I've had these for I don't know how long. I think I actually got sent my first set about probably 6 years ago, and they have just sat there and I've never used them. Then I watched a video the other week and I thought, you know what, I've got these, I'm going to give them a go. And this was the perfect opportunity. The challenge was to stamp on our layout and colour the images, and so this is what I've done. I'm adding in traditional colours that are found around Australian landscapes, and also very traditional with Indigenous artworks. Our First Nations people are very proud. They are storytellers. That's how they pass on their history. At my school, we've just had our NAIDOC celebrations, and as we've done our NAIDOC celebrations, all the children's worked with a group called Dalmari, and they created 3 massive artworks where all the children have been able to add their 3 dots to the paintings, and they are absolutely stunning pieces of work. And when I go back to work, I'll take photos and I'll do a layout on them because they are so stunning, because I absolutely particularly love one that they did with the kangaroo. The colours are just amazing. So the dots are very symbolic for our Indigenous people, our First Nations people, and they represent meaning to those people, and they tell of the they represent people, so basically. And as you can see on my page here, you can see lots of different First Nations traditional artwork symbols that you will find in their artworks through the modelling paste, and ironically this stamp, which is very, very good, and I'm glad that I bought it and purchased it when I saw it. So I'm almost finished now, and as you can see, I'm just filling in the last of those circles, and I must say it is not something that I would have thought to do. I probably would have stamped this somewhere and never thought to colour it in except for this challenge, and I am really, really impressed with how this looks. So I think that this might become a bit of a favourite of thing to do, particularly for cards. This will be very stunning. So I've just got the last ones, and I have dragged in some purple because lately modern Indigenous artwork is starting to drag the purples in. So now that I've done that, I've got a bronze gel pen, which I'm just adding to those smaller circles that are open in that stamp, and there's my stamp completed. And look how stunning that looks. That is just fabulous, and it ties beautifully with the colours in the photos, as you can see. So as I said, I had put originally some layering to those photos, you saw that, but I've actually removed that and I'm not putting them in because I want to see a bit of this background a bit more. I'm putting in the 2 different papers on angles here to build that diagonal feel across the layout to keep the consistency happening. It is also to build a feature and drag more of the colour into the layout. As I said, I struggle with a white background. I do like the fact that you can see the texture through it. That adds interest, but I like that I've pulled the colour into the page as well, and it ties it together nicely. So you can still see those painted stamps, which is very important because they were the criteria for this month. Down below I have a full playlist of all the players that are playing along this month. Please go and leave some love for them. All Brianna's details are down below as well, so make sure that you go and check out her channel and leave her some love, because it's a great, great hop that she's created for us to join in every month. This now is the layering up of my embellishments from that sheet of 6x6 that you saw. I've fussy cut out the native Australian bottle brush and waratahs, and I'm just adding those into clusters around the page. And when you're building your clusters, don't forget, manipulate them until you're happy, until you find that they're balanced. And once you've done that, then you will know that the page is going to sit. And you can see that I'm just adjusting colours. I'm moving it around so that it's complementary and that they all tuck in and suit the layout. And the advantage is when you go through your papers, choose colours that match your photos. Then you're not going to go wrong. On this layout alone, I have about 4 different paper ranges. So it's really quite easy when you look at the colours of the photos to match your papers across the ranges. So I'm putting the title cans. I'm keeping it pretty simple. There's a lot happening on this page, so it doesn't need a lot. I've added in that phrasing, Australian Natural Beauty, and I'm just finishing off with some faux stitching to define the blue, and I'm adding in my pops of colour in white, 3 to each of the clusters. That's my 3 sets of 3. You can see the texture coming in underneath those little clusters throughout, and I have used the paper as a base for the clusters. And there's my layout, and I must say that stamping and colouring was not on my list ever, but look how amazing that's turned out. And I need to do that more than just my dolls that I like to colour as well. So thank you for staying. I hope there was something here that inspired you. This is the layout in completion. It is quite a dramatic layout. You can see those clusters with that modelling paste in underneath in the stenciling. It adds another layer of interest. You can see how all the colours complement each other and fade in. And I really must say, distress crayons are a extra bonus to me and need to be used a lot more, I think. And my clusters there have the native Australian bottle brush and Waratahs joined to be the colours of the layout. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. Thank you so much for staying. I hope you liked it. Give me a thumbs up. It interacts with the video and lets YouTube know that you want to see more of what I'm doing. Thanks to those already subscribed. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. The interaction brings my content to the front. And you can find me under all my socials on Kathy Loves to Scrap, including Instagram, where everything ends up. Check out the playlist down below. Thanks for watching. Happy scrapping. Until next time.